Hi everyone, we're back with soapcalc.net and how to calculate your own recipes. So we've talked about what the part 1 is for, we've talked about what part 2 is for, part 3 for your water weight and your super fat. Now we're going to talk about the oils. This is going to be a little bit trickier to talk about. Now, your oils, you're going to have hardness, you're going to have cleansing, you're going to have conditioning factors. It's going to be bubbly, creamy. Those are basically the ones I look at the most. Because I don't know, I just do. I really like a hard bar of soap. I like things to be cleansing. Conditioning doesn't really matter a whole lot to me. I really do want a bubbly soap because that's just fun for me. I'm a bubbly person. Creamy, I'm not so much of a creamy soap fan. So I pick oils that tend to be a little bit harder. Now because of that, I'm going to use coconut oil as an example here. Have coconut oil, I'm going to add it to my 6 over here. So part 5 and 6 kind of go hand in hand here. Now the hardness of that coconut oil, which is highlighted right here, it's extremely hard. It's a hard bar of soap. It's very high in acids. It's very cleansing. It's almost not conditioning at all. It's extremely bubbly. It's not really creamy. You know, these are things I really, really like. However, if you have really, really sensitive skin, using pure coconut oil in your soap is going to be normally fairly drying for your skin. So this is where changing your super fat is going to be your best friend. I've seen people go as high as 30%. I don't recommend that, but I guess if you need to, you can. You have that option. You can change this. That means you'll have even a low amount of lye for your oils, which will help reduce it from being drying to your skin to being just right. Now, because this is a harder oil, this will also trace fast, which means instead of waiting several days before unmolding, you are going to be able to unmold this soap within a few hours of making it. I really love 100% coconut oil soap. I tend to use a 10% super fat, and again, because this traces incredibly fast, I can slow that trace down by adding more water to it. So I like to use 42.5% water weight. Now, how I came up with that was purely by accident, and I loved what happened. So, this is what I use for my 100% pure coconut oil soaps. So, now I've got my proper lye picked out. I've got my grams picked out for my size oil batch I want. I've got my water size selected, because again, I want to try and slow down that trace because it's a hard oil. I've got my super fat increased because this oil can be drying to the skin. So I've got less lye in there, so that way it will be a lot more gentle. Now I'm going to calculate my recipe right here. Now I'm going to view or print recipe. This is going to take me to another tab. This is printable. You can put in your own recipe name here. See, I've got my total weight size of my oils. I've got my water weight. I've got my super fat. This automatically calculates my lye concentration. I've got all these other great things right here. Alright, so now I've got my parts. I've got my water. I've got my lye weight. I've got my total oil weight. I've got my fragrance weight, which back on the first page back here, it gives you how much fragrance weight is okay for that soap batch. Now, Depending on what oils you use, some of them will say how much percentage is okay and safe to use in your soap. Only calculate that which the instructions on the oil says is safe to use in your soap in this section right here. Okay, because that's where that goes. So, if I'm using an unscented soap, it doesn't really matter. I don't have to add any of that stuff in there. So, this gives me all of that stuff. Now, the soap bar quality. Here is going to be your normal ranges right here. Here is what this soap recipe is going to be. So it's above, way above average in the hardness. The cleansing, it's way above average in cleansing. Conditioning, it's way below. So if you want to, you can recalculate your recipe to be more within this range, and then at that point you'll just keep your recipe at the default 38% water weight, and that will be suitable and just fine for you. Again, I really like this recipe. Now I'm going to go back and create a total different one here. Say I'm going to press the minus sign because I don't want that in there. Now I'm going to pick out olive oil. So there it is right there. Now if you look, this has a complete different calculation here. This is what the coconut oil was. This is what the olive oil is. So complete difference in hardness. Cleansing is not cleansing at all. Conditioning is incredibly cleansing. Or conditioning, I mean. It's not bubbly. It's creamy. So there's a whole different thing right there entirely. So I'm going to go ahead and put olive oil right here and say 100%. Now, because olive oil is so soft as an oil and it's very high in conditioning factors, I found that using a 5% superfat is just fine for me. It's totally just fine. The chances of it burning you are a lot less and drying out your skin at a 5% superfat than a coconut oil at a 5% superfat because it's so gentle. Now, water weight, however, this oil takes a really long time to trace. So the more water you have in it, all that water has to come back out. And for a soft oil, that can take 6 months to a year or longer for it to cure to be hard enough to be sold or to use. Coconut oil, you can unmold it within a couple hours and it will sit on a shelf and cure out just fine. But olive oil, you can't really do that. I found even at a 20% water weight, which yes, I use a 20% water weight, which is a huge water reduction. I still found it takes about 2 or 3 days for me to be able to unmold it. But then within about 2 weeks, it's fairly solid. Now, I did a 38% water weight once, and that soap has now been curing for about 5 months, and it's still soft and squishy to my fingers. Where one that I made with this water weight about a month ago is hard as a rock. So water weight does count. Now, reducing your water weight will make the soap cure faster. It would also make it trace faster. So as you can imagine, for a hard oil like coconut oil, it already is going to trace really fast. So adding water will slow it down. And this one, because it's really slow anyway, lowering your water will speed it up. Heat will also have an impact on how fast your soap cures and traces and all that stuff as well. So keep that all in mind. So I'm going to calculate my recipe here with 20% water weight. I've got my grams, got my super fat where I need it. Alright, so calculate recipe, and then I'm going to view or print my recipe. And so here again, I've got my total weight. I've got how much my water percentage is for my water discount. I've got my super fat, and here are my recipe qualities right here, and here is the range. Now, as you can tell, it's going to be below average for a lot of these, except right here, it's very high in conditioning. It's not bubbly, it's creamy. You know, it's creamy within kind of a normal range right there. But again, it's not within a normal range, so because these numbers are so much smaller as far as the hardness and cleansing and all that stuff, reducing the water weight kind of is important for that. Now I'm going to go back to the first page and create a whole nother recipe. So say I want, oh, I don't know, maybe, and again I should mention pure olive oil soap is a pure castile soap. Castile soap was originally olive oil made from the olive trees from Cassia. So that's what the original castile soap was, but now it just means any pure olive oil soap. So this is how you make a castile soap. Great is a pet soap, by the way. So I'm going to change this. I'm going to press the minus because I don't want that in there anymore. Now I'm going to make up a recipe. I'm going to use coconut oil right here. Hey, I want to use olive oil. Might as well stick with that since I've been using that to demonstrate everything. Press the red plus sign. Now say I want 80% of that, you know, is coconut oil, and say for this one I wanted 15%. Now I'm going to show you guys something kind of cool. Even though this does not equal 100, you can add in as many oils as you want to in different percentages, but if it's over or under the one, these numbers still have to equal 100. I'm going to go ahead and calculate my recipe, and it comes up with a sign. And sorry, you can't do that. You need to adjust it by 5%. Okay. So I'm going to go back here, put in 20, which 80 and 20 together is 100. So calculate recipe. There we go. There's my 100. So your calculation on your percentage, you can add in kind of whatever you want to, just as long as it equals 100. And it will calculate how much percentage of that weight is going to be, again right here, how much that percentage will be to equal your total percent in weight of your oils. So calculate recipe. Right, did that. Right, view print recipe. Let's see. Oh, look. The hardness came down, the cleansing came up, conditioning, it came down. Or no, the conditioning came up as far as the coconut oil anyway. So it made it a little softer. But here again, here's my water weight, my total lye weight, my total oil weight, my total fragrance weight if I wanted to add fragrance. And it gives me my total batch size weight right here. Now for that total oil weight, which is right there, it gives me how much of that percentage is what, and total batch size of the oil weight right here, which matches right up there. So this is really, really kind of cool to use and experiment around with, because if you want to change different properties, all you have to do is go back to your first link, which is right here, and recalculate out your oils and put things in, take things out. You can add in a lot of stuff. Now in the bottom of here, what pressing buttons I don't need to press? Somewhere in here, just gonna go ahead and click in a gray area. Woohoo, gray. gray areas. Now, if I wanted to, and I've showed you guys how to do this, and how to render your own tallow, you can use sheep tallow, goat tallow, deer tallow, beef tallow, bear tallow. In here, I believe there's even lard. E, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, above M. Let's see if lard's in there. Yep, there it is, right there. Pig tallow. So you can use just about any oil to make your soap, because soap really is just your lye, your oils, and your water. So that's how you do that. Now, if you wanted to add a flour, water, or even a milk, your total water weight is going to be whatever your liquid weight is going to be. So if you're using basically, if you're using anything that for your water weight to add your lye into, make sure that your total water weight, if you have it with water and you want another part milk, which is kind of what I do when I make my recipes, just as long as your total water weight available still equals the total water weight out here. So, whoop, where's the water weight? Where's the water weight? Where's the water? Right there. So, yeah, keep that in mind. That will make a difference. And again, I just threw this out there. In a recipe, you do want your total water weight to be more than your lye, because your lye will not dissolve properly in water that I found is either equal or lower. So you'll still end out sometimes with lye chunks. You don't want lye chunks in your soap. You need all the lye to dissolve in your water. So hopefully this makes sense in how you can calculate your own batch. If you wanted to split batch, and again, you have to, change up your waters and you can type in down here that you want, hey, 1/2 of the water weight is milk, 1/2 of it is water, but still equal the total amount of water weight that's available for this recipe. But yeah, you can change so much. It's so fun to mess with. So this is what the total recipe is going to be for those 2 oils that we've calculated here. So have fun with this. Definitely enjoy the experience. Try making up a whole bunch of different soap batches and just play around with it. See what recipe you come up with, and maybe you can find something that you really like that gives you properties you really want to have. That's within a normal range. Then you don't have to mess with the water weight up here at all. But again, I found for me, I really do enjoy a pure coconut oil soap. I just love it. It feels good for me. So again, but I changed the super fat and I changed the water weight accordingly based on the properties of that oil. So I hope this helps and explains why you might want to change some of these other factors, what the reasons would be, how to maybe do it, but just really have a lot of fun with it. Again, if you type in a wrong number that's a little over what 100% will actually be, then you can change that. And yes, you can use 0.5, 0.2, even in here, to type that out, and it's going to give you your weight for that oil that's available. So have fun with this. This is a really great experience. You can make some wonderful things. Science is fun, and this really is chemistry. And who knows, maybe you'll find that different colors and different micas that you tend to use for your soap will not be the same colors as you started with originally, as I have learned. But have fun with this, guys. It's a lot of fun, and again, I hope all the stages make sense on choosing your lye, what weight size that you're going to use for your oils, your water weight, your super fat, choosing your oils and what properties they are, how to either add an oil or subtract an oil off your list, how to add, you know, what percentage of those hardness or softness you want into your recipe, calculate your recipe, and then print it out on the next page, which will open up your second link right here. And you can type in your name of your recipe, anything you want to add in, micas, powders, honeys, clays, anything like that. You can add it right here and put all that stuff in there. And then all you'd have to do is then just go ahead and print, and it will open up another page for you to print out your recipe. And that's how easy it really is. So have a good one, guys, and I'll be back with another video at another time. See you later. Bye.